The Bram Weinstein Show on Washington's new home for sports, ESPN 630.
Hey, babies. Hey, babies, 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 babies. Hi, everyone. I'm sad today. Hi, everyone. I'm sad. My Mystics.
Didn't even get a home game.
Nah. Is that how that works?
Best of three, better team gets the first two games.
Oh.
And they get the third if they had forced it.
If you force it.
Yeah, I actually had tickets to go had they made it that far.
That seems odd.
That's first round of the WNBA.
So
Best
the
of three,
team
best
with
of
the
five.
worst record would get the deciding game at home?
Correct. Yeah.
That seems unfair to the team that had the...
Other team gets the first two home games. And
just win them
it
both?
Worked, yeah. Clearly worked against them.
All right, whatever. I don't want to get into a whole thing about the setup of the WNBA playoffs. I'm sad, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm sad. Rough sports weekend here. If preseason games bother you, because that one, if those bother you, and they shouldn't that much,
right?
But if they do, that wasn't great. The other day. That wasn't great.
I tried to skew into it's preseason. I'm not going to panic too much, but the more and more I watched, it was very pedestrian.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I also feel weird. I haven't been in here in feels like 5-6 days, something like that.
It
right?
has been 5 days.
Yeah, because we were off Wednesday, Thursday, and then I mailed in the show on Friday.
That's right.
How'd that go? Okay.
It's good, yeah.
I was flying.
Filled in the cracks.
Got it. Good.
Yeah.
And now we're back here today.
Yes, that's
Full week, unless the Orioles get a rain out. Hi, everyone.
That's not going to happen.
Oh. Anyway, I try not to get too upset about preseason games, too.
Mm-hmm.
That one wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more concerned about the defense than the offense, albeit I think the offense is getting a little bit of a pass because of how shredded the defense was for a quarter plus when Mahomes was toying with them. Right.
Yeah.
The offense also got across the 50 multiple times and couldn't score.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little problematic too. And I think it wasn't the headline because Mahomes was on pace for 700 yards passing.
We also got our first taste of old Carson's knack for sometimes just making the wrong decision.
Yeah. There were a couple. He said it afterwards, a couple I would have liked to have had back.
Yeah, I would hope.
Yeah, there were a couple.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me start with the defense. And then I'll get to the news today, which all the good news was Logan Thomas came back. So that was, I still actually don't think he's playing week one, but that's just me. We'll have to see.
Yeah,
but this is good news that they put him up.
Hell of a brace he walked out with on.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, it's a step. I don't know that this means he's playing week one, but it does mean he's coming back sooner rather than later. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So that's good. Anyway, and by the way, Commander's Daily today, I have an interview with him off his first practice in 9 months. So you'll hear from him and how he's feeling as he got back out there. All right. Let me start with the defense. I think that's the headline here. So here's why I think I'm upset. Right? So I'm pretty measured with the preseason stuff. And in general, again, the starters played actually upwards of a half, at least on the defensive side of the ball. Mahomes left because they were just destroying them. And I think Andy Reid had probably pretty much seen enough. I try not to get too bent out of shape about them because in a week their record will be 0-0, and if they beat Jacksonville, no one's going to remember that they lost a preseason game at Kansas City. Like, who's going to care, really? But being that the Chiefs took it seriously and played their starters for a good amount of time, and being that we did as well, and being that that's a measuring stick team, whether you're game planning or not for them or they're game planning for you or not, like that's a team that wins 12 games every year. This is one of those, I think, minor moments where not looking like that would have meant something to me. And defensively, they had no answer for them at all. Like none. They had the blitz to get a pass rush on them, which is, tough to deal with because, look, at some point, this front four, while I don't expect four guys to make hay on every play, at some point they kind of have to do it a little bit on their own. And, I'm not upset that Mahomes did the crazy sidearm, one-footed, whatever, that stuff he does. And the separating pass for me with him that I'm not upset about was they blitzed St. Juice off the edge, hit him on a 3rd and 10, and he hit some number 4 receiver who's never going to play on a dime down the middle of the field. Like, that's why he's who he is. So I'm not upset about those moments, but all of the rest of it, which is he just diced them. They had no disguise for him at all. The pass rush needs blitzing to get home. And it concerns me because when we don't have a lot of quarterbacks like that on our schedule this year,
sure.
Fortunately, not unlike last year. But in this case, when you want to find out, are you ready to make a jump? Well, you have to be competitive with teams like that to show that you're about to make a jump. And I know it was only a quarter plus, but they weren't.
Right.
They're just not competitive with him. That was... It was bad. And who knows what would have happened for 3 more quarters had they just kept going. And that's why I don't want to go too crazy about it. But off of the Carolina game, I actually felt when I rewatched it, I felt better about everything. I'm like, you know what? They made a bunch of mistakes and it's a million different people. And if you go look at real metrics, you'd see they played pretty well, actually. In this case, that was not good. And you didn't go back and rewatch it. They were getting slaughtered. I mean, just absolutely slaughtered by him.
The one that got me was on the first touchdown when he got down into the red zone. The defense just, you could feel, was like, all right, we're just going to let them score. Or there was just this air of inevitability. I don't know if you felt the same way, but that shouldn't happen ever, and it was happening with the starters in. That's where it's troubling for me, is that they got there, and then they didn't even seem like they were going to make the stand, essentially. And that's where, to me, how the defense was playing in the whole preseason was troubling.
Yes. It was bad. And again, I don't want to make too much of it. It's a preseason game, but that team took it seriously that they played. And they're really good. And we didn't look that way to them. We didn't. We didn't look competitive with them.
Right.
Rivera's made a big deal about the pass rush lanes. He was making a big deal to me last week when I was talking to him about it. And how many times, even with the backups, were these gaping holes in the middle of the line where this third-string quarterback was running? And he wasn't running because he was spooked and it just took off. No, there were these wide gaping holes that he just took advantage of and was running through. And then early in the game, while Mahomes got rid of the ball very quickly on most of the plays, so it's kind of hard to judge the pass rush, the same things were happening. There was one play I saw where it looked like Obata was trying to run a game with either Payne or Allen. I can't remember who, but Payne or Allen didn't know that he was doing that. And he ran inside, and then at the last second, he's like, oh crap, and he was supposed to go outside. Yeah. So I think we're back to the coordination on the D-line seems a little messed up. At some point in the middle of last year, it got fixed. But right now, and Rivera's saying it again, it is alarming that it's happening. It's the same problem that they were talking about a year ago. And even he said to me last week, he's like, we've been working on this for 2+ years, and it's been hard to get all of this through. So I don't know what to say about it. I'm trying not to be too upset about it because it's a preseason game.
Sure.
But I just thought defensively, that was tough to just spin. If you're just trying to spin that as that didn't mean anything, whatever, I think it's hard to do that. Offensively, I'll go full spin mode for you if you want, because I think there's a lot of mitigating factors that were happening the other day. They went in with a plan that they literally couldn't do because of manpower. So we can talk about that in a minute. But defensively, and I still feel this way, I know they have a lot of new weapons, and I know they're got an upgraded quarterback, and I see, them being competitive is not just based on the defense being really good. The offense needs to carry its weight and probably should this year. But I still feel like it's the defense that's going to take them as far as they're going to go. And that was not a good sign. I mean, it wasn't. It really was not a good sign. I think that's why I think I'm sensitive to it, because I'm watching this going, all right, I know it's a preseason game, but you guys just got skewered by him. And he is the gold standard of the NFL. And he was on pace for 600 and some yards passing against you. That's not good.
Right.
They were 14-0 in a blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Those were 2 long drives, 80-plus yard drives.
Well, as I said, an air of inevitability.
Yes.
Which you just cannot have.
This is also 2 weeks in a row that they were down double-digit points in the first quarter.
Right.
I mean, these are the same things that keep happening. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the answer is. I mean, they come out slow, They get behind. These are the starters, okay? These are the starters. Second half, same thing. They have trouble stopping people or moving the ball early. Like they start, this 4 halves now. They start slow. And I don't know, I just looked at that team and I went, well, if you're really going to be competitive in this league, you have to be competitive with them.
Right.
And, for a short stint when the starters were out there, they just weren't.
Yes, right.
They weren't.
No, exactly.
It's not good.
No, it's troubling, and, everyone's asking questions about Jack Del Rio at this point. I think it's rightfully so. I mean, I'm not going to overreact to a preseason game, but if this continues for the first 2 weeks of the season, especially against the opponents that they've got, we're going to have a bigger discussion about what happens in the first month of the season, I think.
Maybe. I'm not there on that, and I don't get even a whiff of anything like that, but it was not a great showing, and I don't know what the fix is, and the problem also with, the defense is, you can tell me you're hiding stuff on offense, and I believe you from what I've seen in practice. Right. I believe that. There's no hiding things on defense.
Right.
There's no such thing.
No guys going half speed or not using techniques that he shouldn't be.
No.
It's all, at least in preseason, you're at least man on a man, and
yes.
They've not played well.
They've not played well.
Either of the teams that they've played against.
The bright spot people are Kendall Fuller was tested numerous times and was very good again, and this has been a transfer over from camp. He's just been outstanding at camp, so that's a good sign. I think William Jackson's having a much better camp. I think he's a key for them to be back to the defense that I think they can be. So I think he's been better. Jamin Davis looks better. There was a clip of him getting blown up. I don't know if you've seen this, of some guard or something that blindsided him. He didn't see it coming, and literally it was one of those almost cartoonish knocked out of the screen type of hits. But outside of that, he's been better, and that's been kind of coming along. But they can't get the type of sustained pressure that is necessary. And this is 2 weeks in a row that 2 quarterbacks came in, and essentially 3 quarterbacks if you count Darnold, and just kind of just destroyed them. And I mean, I don't know what the fix is, but they better figure it out. I mean, I know that they're not playing Pat Mahomes, the first few weeks of the season, but this isn't good. This isn't good. It's repetitive from a year ago, and I do think it is concerning. I do. Offensively, I feel a little differently. They wanted to play everybody for half. There was no way they were going to be able to do it. 2 of the players who were playing were Lucas and Roulier, who were both making their debuts of the summer. Both were coming off health issues, one more serious than the other. Roulier's was serious. They had him on a pitch count going. We knew this going in. They told us we're going to put him on a pitch count. They were without both of their starting guards, and we thought it was possible at some point Cosme was going to have to move to play guard because it was an emergency situation. But they also don't have another tackle, actually. So that being the case, and that being the fact that they had one healthy tight end, or 2, this guy Eli Wolf and Rodgers, 2 healthy tight ends, I was like, don't even put these people out there.
Right.
You're going to get them killed.
Right.
At least call Andy Reid and say, please put Chris Jones on the bench, which he did, thankfully.
Yeah, right.
Take it easy. We're in bad shape. This guy, Aaron Montero, who I paid no attention to throughout camp, started the other day and then played the rest of the game at the opposite guard position. That happened. They're on center 3 and 4 again. Mm-hmm. The good news was today, Schweitzer, Norwell, and Leno, who was a surprise that missed the game the other day, were all there again, all in pads, not doing the team stuff, but at least there. So I feel a little bit better about all of that. But so for me, for the offense, while I'm disappointed they didn't get results, especially when they were in Kansas City's territory, that whole thing to me was, if they survived it, and I think they did in general, that was a win. So whatever they wanted to do, there's no way they could literally implement all of it based on the personnel. And so I feel like that was just an unfortunate wasted opportunity based on manpower. So it's hard for me to have a real judgment of the offense. I just don't think it's fair to. I would have liked to have seen them convert a couple of those third downs, especially in Kansas City territory, because like I said about the defense, in a real game, when you're playing a team like that, you will lose if you do not convert the 3rd and 6 at the 40-yard line, because they score too much.
That's right.
So this was one of those situational moments where, yes, I wish there were more conversions. And in Carson Wentz's case, I wish there was a couple better decisions in those spots. But outside of that, I have a hard time really criticizing the offense because I think they had to scale back literally everything they wanted to do out of fear for injury because of an offensive line that should not look like that on opening day. Yeah. So I'm willing to ease up on any real criticisms of them. I just don't think it'd be fair to criticize them.
And the number one thing I'm looking at is how Wentz is playing. And Wentz, while he took a terrible sack, I thought he made a couple good throws again, too, where it looked like he knows where Terry McLaurin's going to be. He knows where Dotson's going to be.
It's building.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Like, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think we just got a taste of what Wentz could do if things go bad. And
yes,
but I think I knew that before this game was happening.
And it's every quarterback.
Yeah.
Frankly, that's every quarterback. I actually feel like 2 weeks into this playing, I actually feel way better about him than I did after 2 weeks of camp, where I had all the questions and the baggage and the inconsistency in camp.
Yep.
Actually, through these first couple of preseason games, I actually feel like he's way more in control than I gave him credit for. So I feel good about him, actually. I feel like, there's going to be mistakes. Yep. If you think he's going 20 for 21 for 358 yards and 7 touchdowns, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, there's going to be mistakes, and especially with a line like that and all these new pieces, and I want to give them a break here.